Hi, this is Salem Witch Trials Daily, and I'm Josh Hutchinson.
This is Sarah Jack.
Yesterday, Elizabeth Hart visited Ann Putnam Jr. and her family in person, having learned that the girl accused her of afflicting her. She wanted to clear things up.
Anne claimed in a May 18th deposition that she had seen Elizabeth Specter, but did not know her name until she told her today.
And today, Elizabeth Specter came back and hurt Ann most grievously and urged her to write in her book. Nathaniel Ingersoll and Thomas Putnam filed a complaint against 8 new witchcraft suspects and 1 old one. They filed it against Daniel Andrew, George Jacobs Jr., Rebecca Jacobs, Sarah Buckley, Mary Whitridge, Elizabeth Hart, Thomas Farrar Sr., Elizabeth Colson, and Bethia Carter Jr.
The reason for including Bethia Carter Jr. is unclear, as she had been arrested on May 9th. Perhaps Thomas Putnam couldn't keep track of all the people he put behind bars.
For some reason, the first names of 3 of the women were omitted from the warrant. There were blank spaces left to be filled in later, but they were never backfilled. The suspects were all accused of bewitching Ann Putnam Jr., Mercy Lewis, Mary Walcott, Abigail Williams, and other unnamed people in Salem Village. The magistrates issued 3 warrants to cover the 8 accused. 1 warrant was sent to the constables of Salem, who were instructed to arrest Daniel Andrew, George Jacobs Jr., Rebecca Jacobs, Sarah Buckley, and Mary Whitridge. Another warrant was dispatched to Reading for the arrest of Elizabeth Colson, while the 3rd went to the Marshal of Essex County for the arrest of Elizabeth Hart and Thomas Farrar Sr. of Lynn. The warrants instructed the officers to bring the accused to Nathaniel Ingersoll's Tavern in Salem Village by 10 a.m. on Tuesday, May 17th.
Jonathan Putnam arrested Rebecca Jacobs, Sarah Buckley, and Mary Whitridge, but he could not find Daniel Andrew or George Jacobs Jr.
Constable John Parker of Reading attempted to arrest Elizabeth Colson, but could not find her and learned she might be heading toward Boston to take a ship out of Massachusetts. She will go on to be free for the next 4 months, buying herself enough time to survive the witch trials.
Marshal George Herrick apprehended Elizabeth Hart and Thomas Farrar Sr. with no issues.
While the real John Willard was in hiding, his specter was seen in Salem Village by Mercy Lewis. In a May 18th deposition against Willard, Mercy stated that this evening she was taken to Will's Hill to visit the afflicted people there. Mercy saw John Willard's specter torture Bray and Daniel Wilkins.
Mercy described Daniel as lying speechless in a sad condition. The specter John Willard supposedly told Mercy that he would kill Daniel within 2 days if he could.
And in real life, Daniel Wilkins did die 2 days later on the 16th. But this prediction being in a May 18th deposition, it was easy to insert this aspect into Mercy's story after everything had already happened. And I think that people should have been suspicious about Mercy saying that he predicted it on the nose that he was going to die on the 16th after the fact. Also today, Rachel Tuck and Hannah Cox were deposed against Dorcas Hoar. They stated that about 3 years ago, Dorcas Hoar lay sick in bed, and several people were there with her during the sickness, including Dorcas's daughters, Jane and Elizabeth, her son-in-law, Christopher Reed, and just a bunch of others. At one point, the group had apparently been away from Dorcas for a while, because when they went to check the bed, Dorcas was gone. Everyone freaked and ran out of the house. When the last person came out of the door, Dorcas Hoar grabbed them and they screamed.
The others were afraid to go back to the house for some time, but eventually they returned and found Dorcas holding the unnamed person on the stairs. Dorcas was fully dressed, including a hat and a cloak.
The deposition ends with a note that Rachel and Hannah heard this story from Jane Hoar, daughter of Dorcas Hoar, at the house of Thomas Cox.
Increase Mather and Governor William Phips arrived in Boston, having been in London to secure a new royal charter for Massachusetts.
Yeah, they'll take office in a couple days, so stick around for more Salem Witch Trials Daily.